Good afternoon, good evening, or good night, whatever time you're choosing to listen to this. This is Across America. I'm your host, Jack Austin. Here with me for the duration is Mr. Robert Lamb. Say hello to the kids.
Hello, kids.
Hopefully it's not too many kids listening to this, but
this is going to be a rated R podcast.
Yeah, rated R. Strap in. It's going to be great.
Yep.
So the premise of this, as I'm sure you know if you've tuned in, is our dear friend Robert has literally walked all the way across the continental United States, which is quite a feat, if you could probably imagine that. If you can't, go outside and walk around your house 20 times.
That's the equivalent of walking across the country.
That is walking across the continental United States. I've measured it. Don't check me on that.
Yeah. No matter what the house, no matter how big your house is, it's all the same.
It'll just be embarrassing if you try to challenge me on this.
Yeah.
So we've gathered a whole bunch of questions off of Facebook, Twitter, social media with questions for you, but we want to kind of go into linear focus here and start at the beginning and your preparations and things like that.
Right.
One of the questions that I'm sure we'll dive right into is why?
Right. Okay. Well, first off, I just want to say that when we say we walked across the country, I went from Washington State, right by the Canadian border, to Key West because I wanted to go like diagonal.
Right.
And the why is an interesting question that I never really had I don't know. I never really had an answer to it. It was just something I always wanted to do since high school. I remember me, my friend Cody, and a couple other friends in history class flipped over like in a page in one of our books, and it showed like just the United States.
Right.
And I was just like thinking, how many people have walked like that whole distance? It has to be like pretty far. And I didn't want to include like Alaska or anything like that. I was just thinking like from one side to the other. And I actually thought from like California straight across or whatever to like South Carolina. I was thinking straight across. But, I looked it up and there really wasn't that many people. There might be like 100 that I saw, but they weren't all the same path. Some people went from halfway, like from Chicago to California. Some people went from like Washington to Montana. So I always wanted to go like as far as I could within the continental United States. And I figured from Washington to either Key West or Maine to Southern California would be the longest diagonal.
Yeah. And I'm going to say that in terms of what you're packing and your trip in general, if you started in Alaska, that totally changes the dynamic of everything. So Washington's kind of, in my opinion, kind of perfect.
Well, and I looked it up, and literally from the top of Alaska to just Washington is the same distance from Washington to Key West. So I'm like, that would have put it on another, like it'd be like doing the same thing twice.
Can't have that. I don't need to see Alaska and Canada that much.
And Alaska is not like, at least in the continental U.S., I'm going to hit a town every once in a while.
Right.
I would not be doing that in Alaska. There's even parts where I don't think there's roads.
Right. You're going to be dodging bears and moose.
Yeah. I didn't want to have to deal with all that kind of stuff, like wolf packs, and turn into the Gray with Liam Neeson and have to fight my way out.
It'd be the shortest trip ever.
I just make it like 2 feet.
I would get out of the whatever rural airport in Alaska and get done with the pilot laughing at me, telling him I'm about to walk to the continental United States just to walk all the way to Florida.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, great. And then you'd hear howling in the background. Story's over. Credits.
Yeah, that's it. And then he just picks up my body later.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, this is that fella that said he was going to... How far did he get? About 10 miles off the property.
Yeah. He made it around the corner.
Right.
No, that's that. But the why is basically I wanted to do something that not a lot of people have done, something that was like challenging and something that was different that I could tell people later on that actually like it's just something different. Not everyone can say that. It's like one of those things.
So it was more of an accomplishment thing. It was kind of a goal that you set for yourself, something that you wanted to do.
Right.
It's not, because a lot of people thought, is it a spiritual thing?
A lot of people did ask me that on the trip, too.
They all want to know. Why are you doing this? Why are you walking all the way across America? You've got the long beard, long hair kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
They thought maybe it was some sort of religious...
awakening.
Right.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that,
no.
but this was more like a challenge for yourself.
Which is another thing a lot of people always asked, did you do it for charity? Or like, did you do any, like, was it an idea?
Right.
And it was an idea at first. I thought about doing like something for charity, but it was never like that wasn't the driving force. And I didn't ultimately do it because one, when I did end up doing the walk with my friends, it was kind of not a spur of the moment thing, but we're like, hey, in 3 months, let's just walk across the country. So we didn't really do a lot of prep time. We didn't do a lot of planning. And that's why I ultimately chose not to do it for charity. I just didn't have the time to set that up.
Right. And that takes a whole new element to it. You know what I mean? How do you keep up with that? How do people keep up with you?
Right.
How do they know you're even doing it?
Yeah.
So you said you had a group do it with you. So it was you and who again?
2 other friends, one of them which was Cody, who was with me when I opened that book back in high school.
Right.
And then my other friend Tony, and me and Tony and Cody always wanted to do this. Mm-hmm. And it just worked out that, you know, Cody graduated from college. I only had like a few more classes to do. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do this over the summer.
Right.
And I'll try to get back and do classes when I get back. But I think it'd be like the perfect time. Tony had some free time. I'm like, let's just do it now. 3 months, we'll start in May. And that's what we did.
So, I mean, you don't have, you know, the kids, the wife,
right.
I wanted like to that. You're fresh out of college, and you're saying now's kind of the perfect time for me to get out and go.
This was 3 years ago, 2013. We left May 8th. And I think we decided to do it like a couple months, 3 months before that.
I have to imagine that you bringing this up, it would have to be in a couple months.
Yeah.
If you went further than that, people are going to start really thinking about this.
Well, and that was one thing is we always talked, like that was a joke with our group of friends was, hey, let's go do this. And then we would never do it. Or, hey, let's go here. And we would never go.
Right.
And it would just all be talk. And I never wanted this to just be one of those moments where we're like, yeah, let's just walk across the country. That'd be awesome. Let's do this. We could do this. And then never do it.
Right.
I wanted to actually do it. So when this moment where we all kind of had some free time, I'm like, let's just do it. I don't know if we'll finish it in this many months, but let's just try. Let's just go.
Yeah.
And eventually, it took some coercing with some people, but eventually we were just like, all right, fine, let's just start buying the stuff, because once we start buying the stuff...
Right, and now it's real.
Yeah.
Now it's real. So you go into buying the stuff and all the things it takes to prep for a trip like this. I mean, how much prep did you actually have to do? I mean, first of all, you're not just going to be a guy who gets up, walks to his car, goes to work, and walks around all day without being ready for this. Right. So I assume you had to do a little bit of walking beforehand.
Yeah, I always did, like, not in preparation for this, but I there were times where I would walk. You know, my dad lives in Tampa, and every once in a while I would just walk to his house, which is 15 miles over Gandy from my house. So I would just do that every once in a while, and I kind of built up like a tolerance for it, and it like I felt like I could walk a long time without ever getting tired. I never practiced with a backpack, or if I did have a backpack, it was like maybe like a few bottles of water,
right?
And that's it.
And that's a game changer. Even that little backpack with some water bottles. My God. So I can't imagine what the full pack was at the end of the thing, and we'll get into that obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll say this: we all have those little spurts when we're younger, where we're going around and walking all over the place. I mean, not all of us all had a car. Shout out to my friend Sean. He and I used to walk all over the place.
Really?
And we were some big boys. We're not like you. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we would walk. We lived back in Shore Acres, which I don't know if anybody knows where that is, but it's kind of secluded back there in St. Pete. And we would walk all the way out to 4th Street and walk down to 62nd Avenue and back down.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that's not 15 miles. I don't think,
but it's still a decent amount.
Right.
Yeah.
And even me, who considers himself a very good, pace walker, I feel like I could go for a long time. That's still quite the journey. So,
oh yeah.
So, in terms of packing, what did you even use to think? Okay, well, this is enough stuff.
Yeah, I mean that the whole packing for the trip was, I looked up other people who walked, not necessarily across the country, but just walked different trails,
right.
Appalachian Trail or the Pacific Coast Trail, and just kind of see what they brought with them. And I kind of went from there, and then I tried to pack lightly for all of it. A water filter pouch, clothes, but not too many, one jacket, one long pair of jeans, good socks. I only had one pair of shoes. I was just going to wear those, and I figured I could always buy some
if you needed to.
Trying to think what else. Pocket knife, food wise, a lot of dried food. Because I didn't plan on doing a lot of cooking on the trip.
Of course.
But one friend was like, yeah, we could catch fish and cook. I'm like, it's not going to be that easy. Like, there's not places where we're just going to stop every 10 miles and be able to catch something.
Sure thing, Marty Stopper. We're gonna stop and hunt quail for 6 hours.
I was like, do you know how hard it's not easy to hunt, especially when we're on the side of the highway or somewhere where there's like nothing. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, that's not gonna. I'm gonna pack trail mix, beef jerky, protein bars, energy bars, stuff like that.
Quick and easy.
Yeah. Anything that was like quick and easy, but like enough calories to like keep me going.
I imagine the salt content in that jerky kept you going.
Oh my God. Jerky was like the best. That was the best thing, but it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Like, beef jerky is just expensive. Before I left, I went to Sam's Club and got a bunch of like things in bulk.
Right.
And like those big trail mix pouches and stuff. It's heavy, but it like had like so much food and it like lasted for a while. But beef jerky was like the best thing whenever I could get some on the road.
Right. So you've got your beef jerky and all this kind of stuff. I imagine you didn't stop to eat. You got all that stuff so you could do it on the go. Because the point of this was to walk.
Yeah.
Not camp across America.
No,
you wanted to just keep going.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what was it like when you guys finally put the backpacks on and started test walking around here in the Florida sun?
Well, here's the thing. One of the this guy who did walk across the country, he went a different route. I read kind of like it wasn't a blog per se. It was just kind of this article he wrote about what he did during certain times and what he packed. Mm-hmm. And one of the things he said was, don't carry your backpack the whole way. Yeah. He said, get something with wheels. And I was like, do I really need something with wheels? Like, I should be able to carry it. And like my friends, Tony and Cody, were the same thing. Like, yeah, we'll just carry our backpack. But I was like, but it's probably going to put a big strain on our shoulders for carrying it for 6 months or however long it would take. Yeah. So I was like, maybe I'll buy a backpack that has wheels too. And if I can find one that's good enough that could carry everything, that's not going to strain. You have to find like a good backpack that goes against your back, that you're not pulling your shoulders back, all that kind of stuff.
Not like you carried it in high school.
Yeah, not like
you loosened up the straps.
Or like really cool, like over one shoulder.
Could you imagine one shoulder in it across the country?
Yeah, no
You
way.
would have a permanent limp, I think, when you're done with that.
Oh, yeah.
One shoulder just naturally falling down.
Yeah, no.
So obviously you have to have a good backpack. But did you have a good backpack or did you have to go find one?
Well, and you know what? Now I'm trying to think of where I bought that backpack. It was either Bill Jackson's or I might have ordered it online at like Bass Pro Shop or something.
Right.
I forget where it was because that's the two places where I bought a lot of stuff. That and the Army Navy store.
For those people who might not know, Bill Jackson's around here is a hunting and fishing store. They have everything.
Yeah, every outdoor.
It's one of those places where you walk to the door, you're greeted with a crossbow. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. Yeah. So you said you brought a pocket knife as well.
Oh yeah.
For any pesky, troublesome people that came up.
And open cans, because it had a little can opener on it, too.
That's funny, because I did not even think of that.
Yeah. It had all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the backpack I got did have wheels. It actually converted into, like, where you can pull it, just like, how people do at the airport.
Right.
And I thought, like, that's not that bad. I can carry my backpack, or, like, every once in a while, if I need to, relax my shoulders, just pull it behind me. But I thought if I can pull it behind me the whole time, maybe I'll just do that too, whatever relieves the stress.
Now, so I know the difference between carrying your back or rolling your backpack through the mall on like tile and out in the United States on the road. Mm-hmm. I mean, was it like at one point you're like, I'm tired of dragging this thing?
It took a while to get used to. This is something I didn't mention, because I was going to be in school again in August and we left in May. I brought a laptop with me too.
Right.
And I tried to get like a really light laptop that had a big, good battery. And I thought, if I have to, like, when school starts, I'm just going to do my schoolwork on the road. I'm just going to do these classes and just stop places for internet. I was just like, I'll just figure it out when it starts.
Right.
So I had my laptop with me too, which added another, I think it was like 6 pounds. So the backpack was just too heavy with the tent and everything. We would switch off carrying the tent every day.
Right.
But when I had to carry that plus all the food and everything like that, it was really heavy. So I'm like, I'm just going to pull this backpack for as long as I can. And then if I have to carry it, I'll start carrying it. But like you said, pulling it along the ground, gravel roads, just paved streets that are like just not
Yeah.
easy to pull through. Yeah, it took a little bit to get used to, but eventually I did like it more than carrying the backpack, which I would carry every once in a while.
Yeah.
But it like the strain on my shoulders. I like feeling unencumbered. Like I like being able to walk freely, even if I have to hold one hand back pulling my backpack. I'd rather do that than have like this weight on my shoulders the whole time.
That would really, really suck.
Yeah.
So I want to circle back to the laptop. You said you went and got one that was super light.
It was light as in 6 pounds.
Right.
But it also had
so you walked into Geek Squad or
light
Best
laptop.
Buy. Excuse me, sir. And they want to, how many gig of RAM do you need? And you're like, I'm walking across the country with this thing. And I imagine they're mortified looking at you and say, you're doing what?
No, I actually got it online. I think it was CompUSA or now
Smart.
Tiger Direct.
Smart.
I went on there and I was looking because I wanted one with a long battery life too. And I figured something where if I had to do it sitting in a tent, I could at least type up some stuff. Even if I didn't have Wi-Fi, I could work on reports. And granted, this was all like later on. I'm hoping by August, September, I'm kind of used to walking.
Yeah.
So I could figure out things by that point.
And you loaded all that stuff in here and walked around with it here.
Yeah.
To see how it was going to go. How long were your typical walkabouts?
Not long. I actually did more walking without the backpack, and then 2 weeks before we left is when I finally got everything I needed. And I tested it out, and I'm like, oh, man, this is going to be rough. Like,
right.
It's heavy. It's heavy with the laptop and all my other things I brought and clothes. And then water. Water's 8 pounds a gallon.
Yeah.
That's the worst. That carrying water was, like, probably the worst.
Yeah. But you have to stay hydrated.
You have to have water.
Not like you can say, you know what,
I'll keep the laptop. I'll get rid of the water.
You know what? For Montana, we're going to skip water.
Yeah. Water, it's just too heavy, guys.
I'm just going to pack up beef jerky and live off the land.
Dude, but water's like the worst. Because, when you're walking through Montana or Wyoming and there's nothing around, you have to have a lot of water with you. And it sucks carrying a gallon of water when it's like 8-9 pounds.
And that's the funny thing. I mean, when you say water, I'm sure most people think the little water bottles.
Yeah,
no, we're talking
it's
a gallon
lot of
jug of water in your backpack with your 6-pound laptop and your tent and your
sleeping bag and God, I'm trying to think what else I
your
brought.
Snuggie. You've got your Snuggie back there.
I brought my dog. Just packed him in there.
My dog Patches. He made it through 2 states and then he wanted a flight home.
Yep, kitchen
I'm
sink.
Kidding.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no. I mean, with everything, I'm trying to think how much total it weighed because I did weigh it, and I want to say it was definitely over 20 pounds.
Yeah. Whoa.
It was a lot. And I will say that I didn't get many blisters on the walk until I carried my backpack. That was the only time when I carried my backpack.
When you threw it on your shoulders.
When I would get like really bad blisters.
Really?
Yeah. When I dragged it behind me, I hardly ever got a blister.
What kind of shoes did you end up wearing? Because I'm a large individual. Some of you people know me. I have really big, fat feet, so I have to wear like Vans or shoes that are really, really wide. Mm-hmm. So I don't like. I'm just thinking about it in terms of would that make it all the way across the country? I have no idea. I feel like I would go through a couple pairs of shoes. Did you? Did you go through a couple pairs of shoes?
I only wore. Well, let's say this. I started with Asics. They were like just the sneaker. And I went to, I think, Sports Authority to get them. And the guy who was working there, I told him, hey, I'm walking across the country. I want shoes that are going to hold up. And he's like, oh, really? Like, you're going to want sneakers. And one guy at the Army Navy store is like, you're going to want boots. And I'm like, I don't think I want boots. And he's like, no, but you're going to be walking on rough terrain. I'm like, I think I'm going to be mostly on roads, though. Like, I'd rather just have, like, a sneaker. I feel like it'd be lighter.
Yeah.
And, like... I don't know. I really didn't want boots. Boots are like heavier. So I went with sneakers. I went with Asics. I bought some really nice like $15-$20 socks, a couple pairs of those, and then they were like padded. And then I also got those foot insoles, like the gel kind.
Oh, like Dr. Scholl's.
Yeah. Like, they weren't Dr. Scholl's, but they were a kind of
right.
those.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like
they
some
were
sort of yeah. Okay,
and that
that's awesome.
That actually made it a lot better too. It was a lot softer. But I went through Asics, and then I think. Halfway through, I switched to Nikes. Like my Asics lasted all the way till like Missouri. Yeah. And then I started getting holes in the bottom, and I switched to Nikes, but the Nikes just did not they didn't feel good. They just weren't like the right size. I don't know. They were kind of tight on my feet. So I switched back, and my mom actually bought me more Asics, the same type I got before, and mailed them to me. And I wore Asics for the rest of the trip. And I still have those shoes too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, from Missouri to Key West. I threw the other ones away.
So, segue into that because we're going to have to wrap it up here in a second.
Right.
I'll do a couple of questions that we got off of Facebook and Twitter. We'll start with Evelyn Cuevas on Facebook. She wanted to know how many pairs of shoes did you go through and which ones of those were most comfy. She follows it up with, I thought of Forrest Gump and Jenny's one pair of Nike shoes lasting 3 years.
Yeah, no.
She wants
Nikes
the truth.
did not. Yeah, Nikes. That's what I'm saying. The Nikes were not that great. I think the Asics were a lot better, but again, like maybe just because the Nikes I had were kind of tight on my feet and I didn't get the right size or something.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't feel good. And when I did the Asics, they were like a little bit. They felt lighter and a little bit more airy, if that makes sense.
Right. So why don't you put your address up here so Nike knows where to send the lawsuit?
Yeah, exactly. Talking shit.
Oh, you don't like our Nikes? Okay.
But the
Perfect.
Asics, I wore the same type of shoe, the Asics, for pretty much the whole trip. I only wore the Nikes for like a few weeks.
So only 2 pair.
Yeah, only 2 pair.
Wow.
1 pair I switched in Missouri.
Well, we're also talking brand new shoes, so wearing those all the way down to holes in the bottom.
Yeah, and I wore them until there was holes in the bottom. I probably should have changed them out earlier, but I didn't.
Right.
That was whatever.
And we'll wrap it up with one more question here from Eric Carrico off Facebook. He wants to know, do your feet hurt?
Still.
Now let me preface that. Do your feet hurt right now? Like, do they still hurt?
They're still pounding 3 years later, and they're still aching.
Yeah.
No, but I will say this. My legs, I do get shooting pains like in my nerves every once in a while, and I think it's because of that walk.
I had an old knee injury, and sometimes when it's cold, I can still feel it. Does that happen with you? Like if it gets cold to your feet?
It's not when it's cold. It's like if I'm just walking too much, or like I'll go jogging every once in a while, just to get some cardio. And I can't jog more than like a mile now, where my legs start I can start feeling like I have pain in them. I'm like, this is because of the walk. This is what it is.
I bet
sucks,
it is.
But whatever. But my feet are fine.
Still, yeah. Okay, so now your feet look normal. I've seen them, Eric. I've seen his feet. They're hideous, but they look healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Looks don't matter.
That's gonna do it for episode 1 of Across America with Jack Austin and Robert Lamb, and we'll end it up with some shameless plugs.
Shameless
of our own material.
Well, because this podcast is part of 7 Lamb Productions now, which is a new network.
Do you guys get it? 7 Lamb.
Robert Lamb.
Super inventive.
That's
over
shameless.
Here.
Yeah.
I love it.
Putting my name in the title. No, but 7 Lamb is something that me and Jack have been working on, and like we're trying to do a bunch of different podcasts. This is one of them, but we also do a lot of fictional stuff where Jack does a lot of the voices.
Yeah,
a lot of the voice acting.
I do 1 or 2.
Just 1 or 2 per episode per story. But we do a lot of fictional stuff. We have like any kind of audio drama. We have horror, which is Paralyzed. We have End of All Hope, which is a sci-fi apocalyptic tale. We have a bunch of others coming soon.
Yeah. Well, speaking of coming soon, for our Game of Thrones fans, we have Chair of Swords starting to come out. As a matter of fact, the first episode just came out not too long ago. Mm. And if you're a Game of Thrones fan, please don't look for direct content in Chair of Swords.
Yeah, no.
But it's still very good. We got a big cast of characters and a lot of audio effects in there for you. So we really hope you check it out. We are also on Facebook and Twitter. And feel free to tweet at us with any kind of questions you have or any sort of requests or, just how you're feeling that day.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah, and you can just, on Twitter, I think it's at 7 Lamb Podcast. That's with a 7.
I'm 100% sure that's right, but I'm going to double check.
Just in case. And then I think even with Facebook, you can go facebook.com/7 Lamb Podcast.
Right. And you can look for us on there. Just type in 7 Lamb Productions.
Yeah, and it'll pop up.
Yeah, and we'll pop right up. So it is at 7 Lamb Podcast for Twitter.
Nice.
And it's got the logo sitting right there.
Yeah.
And feel free to tweet at us, guys.
All right. You can ask more questions for this.
Yeah, please feel free because we're going to keep going with it. So,
yeah.
All right. Have a wonderful day. I love you.
This has been a Seven Lamb production.